That is a little bit of feedback, isn't it? There's the sweet spot. I'm Rob Hunsaker. I'm the college's Director of Development, and it's a pleasure to welcome you to our annual Alumni Award celebration and ceremony. This year we're recognizing Sonia Woodbury, who is a graduate of our Ed Studies program, which in its current form is known as the Department of Education, Culture, and Society. And also Rolfe Kerr, who is a graduate of the Department of Educational Leadership and Policy. You may notice on the back of your program there's a list of past recipients as well for this award. This has become a very fine tradition for the college, and we're very happy to welcome you all here today. I wanted to just, I think they're out actually getting a plate full of food, but our music players are called the Red Hots, and they are from the School of Music, and the School of Music has this fabulous program where they provide music students for events on campus for free, and there's a jazz trio, there's classical quartet, piano players, so they're wonderful. Let's give them a hand even though they may not know. So I'd especially like to welcome the family and friends of Sonia and Rolfe. Thank you for being here. Also, College of Education leadership, faculty, and staff. And we have also members of the college's advancement board here with us today. They're the folks who help us do great things like raise money and get us into new buildings like this. We have a very unusually high concentration of Utah Commissioners of Higher Education here today, and I'm not sure if this happens too much, but we have three former commissioners with us. We have Cece Foxley, of course, and we have Rolfe Kerr, one of our award recipients, Rich Kendall, and we have our current commissioner, who is Dave Bueller. So please help me welcome them here. So
the others are besieged.
Well, this is a great collection. If this is your very first time in this building, then if you'd like to, please wander around and see it. We just moved in here in January, and we had our dedication ceremony in February. It's the Beverly Taylor Sorensen Arts and Education Complex. Beverly, who unfortunately passed away before the building was complete, was a huge patron of education. She was an alumna of education, and she adored Tanner dance as well. And so she made it possible for the two of us to be here together in this new space. That portion of the building over there is the Tanner dance program. Here in the middle of the building is all classrooms on all three floors. And then on the north end here is where the college departments are and the research units. So welcome here to this great new space. It's also a pleasure for me to introduce our dean to you, who will take over and coordinate the rest of the program. This is Dean Maria Franquise. And she's brand new. She's the college's 13th dean, and she started here with us in January. She came from UT Austin. She's lived all over the world. She's a native of Puerto Rico, but she's lived in Germany and many different states in the U.S. She is a nationally known scholar in qualitative research design and methods, as well as bilingual education. And please help me welcome her.
Good afternoon. I've got a chance to meet a few of you during our nice music background luncheon. Thank you for being here today. It's a pleasure to have this event, one of the most important ones in the College of Education, because it maintains connections between the faculty, between students, between alumni, between professors emeritus. It's wonderful that we maintain and celebrate the generations that help the College of Education sustain itself here at the U with its wondrous reputation. I want to thank Rob Hunsaker and his parents who are here for the wonderful contributions that he makes to the College of Education in facilitating our dialogues together and our connections across the years. Thank you, Rob. So let's see, we have some beautiful recipients today, but we also, Rob gave you an idea of what the building looks like, and some of you were here at the dedication. But for those of you who weren't, which is some of our faculty were not able to attend, and some of our students that were not able to attend, we wanted our donors to be honored at that particular event, and as many other community members who could come. But for those who didn't get to see it, we wanted to provide that video for you today. But before I do have us view it, I wanted to have us recognize the faculty that are here at this moment. Please stand up and be recognized. And the staff that is here remaining. Hey! I know some others went back to offices in order to maintain our ordinary routines here, but I wanted to let you know that the College of Education is deeply indebted to the wonderful faculty and staff that live here in the building every day and make our lives not only possible for this year, but the upcoming years to come in this building. So let's show you then the video that we showed at the dedication so that you have an idea of how celebratory the event is and the possibilities with Tanner in the future, because they're all. Does this represent Tanner, Rob? Yes. Okay. So without further ado, let's enjoy the little video.
So what are three adjectives that would characterize the college? I think dynamic would be one. I think creative would be another one. And collaborative would be the third. The overall goal for the College of Education is to prepare education professionals who can go and work in public schools and higher education settings. But in particular, we're interested in looking at conducting rigorous research that's focused on improving the quality of pedagogy that students receive.
My name is Annette Reed, and I'm here at the Salt Lake Center for Science Education as a student teacher.
My name is Aisha Hassan. I'm doing chemistry student teaching, and at the university I'm doing Masters of Education with secondary licensure, and my department is Education, Culture, and Society, and it's a joint program with the Urban Education.
So this is a class for beginning teachers, and it's the semester before they start student teaching. And the goal of the class is to orient people to working in schools and communities as practicing teachers, but keeping central to that work the mission of the Urban Institute, which is to think globally about classrooms and schools as part of communities.
One thing that I've really appreciated about my training at the University of Utah is that it has combined the theoretical with the practical. And I've had a chance to read, think about, and write about the theories behind good pedagogy.
The Urban Institute actually gives us three mentors. We have our core mentor, and we have another mentor which is specific for our major, so for me it would be science, and then we have our site teacher. So having those three mentors guiding you throughout when you're practicing that really is very helpful.
So I think the College of Education does a really good job creating kind of cultural sensitivity, for one thing, and just understanding diverse populations.
Most people don't know we've been a majority minority school district for over 10 years now, that there are over 100 different languages spoken, that Salt Lake City is one of 17 refugee resettlement areas. So that huge diversity is pretty cool to see the whole world in all of our classes.
I'm Anthony Miller. I teach 6th grade at Washington Elementary. My history with the University of Utah is I graduated in 2004. I spent pretty much my whole college years there. I graduated in elementary education.
So instead of just being in his classroom with the door shut, doing his own thing, he's reaching out, he's interacting with his peers, the children see the value of that collaboration. It's almost, well, not just almost, it is magical when you see it all come together and work the way that it should. My goal for schools is to build on their curriculum. And so without that collaborative relationship, I wouldn't know what they were doing at any given time. Regardless of the project we're doing, it benefits the kids and the space to be able to refer to things that they're also learning in their classrooms.
The partnership between the College of Fine Arts and the College of Education occurred about 5 years ago. The impetus of that relationship was to pursue the integration of the arts as a part of the academic environment for elementary school children on a daily basis.
One of the things I've seen in my own teaching experience is the value of using the arts to help kids with special needs. I'm thinking of a little guy in kindergarten who had special needs, had a very hard time with academic learning, and yet when I put art in front of him, when I gave him opportunities to create, he was a phenomenal connector.
We want to make sure that we also provide learning experiences that students will learn to view the curriculum holistically. And obviously this is an important concept from Mrs. Sorensen's work and her emphasis on integration of the arts into the curriculum and across the curriculum.
It is quite a unique element of the College of Education, College of Fine Arts, and the linkage possible through this new physical space between these disciplines will stand out nationally as a very, very special place.
Indeed, this very special place has many people who have contributed to making it special and who will continue to contribute to move us forward in the 21st century. Among one of those folks is Dr. Sonia Woodbury, who is the recipient of this year's Distinguished College of Education Alumni Award. And are there any other alumni award recipients here? Cece, be recognized. Are there others? This award, typically when it's received, if you've been here before, someone else introduces you. And I'm going to introduce the person introducing you. So that, again, it's the generations then that are celebrating with each other the success that we recognize today because of the contributions you have made. So the person that's going to introduce then Dr. Woodbury is going to be Peggy McCandless. And she is a clinical instructor right now in the Urban Institute for Teacher Education. She also coordinates for our Arts Integration Program. She is an elementary program coordinator for the Teacher Licensure Program, which we're hoping to grow. We have 3 cohorts now, and we're hoping to grow a 4th cohort in this coming year. Peggy has been a faculty member in the college for over 20 years, during which she has taught over 400 of our own student teachers. That's incredible. She was also one of the founding mothers of the City Academy Charter School for grades 7 through 12 here in Salt Lake, and is a friend of Sonia Woodbury. So she will now do the introduction.
It is such a joy and an honor to tell you a little bit about my friend, Sonia Woodbury. After speaking with several people this past week about Sonia, here are a few themes that kept coming up describing her character. Hard worker, brilliant, tenacious, resourceful, generous of her time, incredibly patient, kind, inclusive, amazing. Let me tell you a little bit about her background. Sonia Service Woodbury was born in Texas and raised in Kansas City. Her parents were both very well-accomplished chemists. Sonia's mom, who was a Holocaust survivor from Belgium, was a chemistry professor, and Sonia's dad from New York was a chemistry researcher. I'm sure it comes as no surprise that both her mom and dad had big dreams of Sonia attending college. During her growing up years in Kansas City, Sonia fell in love. She fell in love with dancing. In fact, she danced with the Kansas City Ballet and was even a Kansas City chiefette. I didn't bring my pom-poms, but maybe we can talk her into it later on. At one point, she informed her parents that she wasn't going to go to college. She wanted to dance. You can imagine the response. Insisting she attend college, Sonia researched ballet schools across the nation and decided to study ballet at the University of Utah. Unfortunately, shortly after arriving at the U, Sonia became injured and switched her major to a closely related field, math education. During her last year in her undergraduate degree, she fell in love again. She met Jeff, her husband, in a math class. Imagine that. After receiving her secondary teaching license in math education, Sonia taught in Jordan School District. In order to pursue graduate school, Jeff and Sonia both ended up studying at Drake University, where Sonia received her MBA. Once back in Utah, and after having 4 children, 3 sons and 1 daughter, who are amazingly accomplished professionals from law to finance, accounting, chemistry, Sonia began pursuing her PhD here in the College of Education. That's when I first met Sonia. I remember my first impression. Wow, she's so smart and so articulate and so thoughtful. Well, it wasn't long after that Sonia and I, along with several others, attended a conference where Roland Barthes was the keynote speaker. During his keynote address, he got people energized about becoming educational agents of change. After the conference, several of us formed what we called the Dream Team. We named ourselves Roots and Wings. It was a group that met about once a month at somebody's home, many times at Sonia and Jeff's warm and welcoming home, and we dreamed about what our ideal school would look like. Well, after several years of dreaming, one of us thought out loud, when are we going to do something about this? That was in 1998. Utah had just passed charter legislation. I remember the evening we met and all looked at each other knowing that no longer did we have an excuse of not attempting getting funding. That summer, Sonia Woodbury, Tracy Stevens, who just retired from Westminster as a professor there in the College of Education, and the late Nancy Wininsky, who many of you knew. She was a professor here in the College of Education. Met at Tracy's cabin up in Camas and wrote a charter. We later became known as the Founding Mothers. City Academy became the 7th charter school in the state of Utah. From that day forward, and after many lessons, Sonia has been the rock. She is the reason the school exists today. Sonia has dedicated her life to City Academy because of her love for students and her passion for teaching. She is a shining example of a dedicated educator. I know Jeff and their children are proud of her accomplishments, and the students at City Academy are so lucky to have such an amazing educator. Thanks, Sonia.
So Dr. Sonia Woodbury, on behalf of the College of Education, I am very pleased to present you with the 2013-14 Distinguished Alumna Award, which is given in recognition of your character, your integrity, and accomplishments as an alumna. Thank you. And as an established and respected leader in the field of education, you have brought prestige and honor to this college through your scholarship, through your service, your philanthropy, teaching, and administrative leadership in education. Congratulations and thank you for all you do on behalf of education and for being an outstanding graduate of the college. We are privileged to recognize you by presenting you with this award.
Thank you very much. It's a little hard to talk after something. It's hard to believe it's been that many years since we started thinking about this. It's a privilege to be here today. I do appreciate, as the dean has been talking about, the connection between the university and our public schools. While I was here, I saw it from this side so often, and I was privileged to go with John Benyon and others into the schools and work. And another piece of that was just the opportunity from my own previous teaching experience to think about, now that I'm here at the university and we're really looking at research and what should be better. These were the early 1990s. The National Council of Teachers of Mathematics was putting out all their reform information based on all that research, and it was time to make change. And I was in Harvey Cantor's class, and we were assigned to read The Shopping Mall High School. And this may or may not be the book he would like me to have remembered reading from his course, but it certainly started my thinking about, so if it's not the Shopping Mall High School, what should it be? And then, as Peggy said, we had so many experiences and opportunities, and the state passed this charter school legislation, and we all had to look at each other and say, okay, we have to put our energy and action where our mouths have been, and we have to do this. And so I'm very grateful for my ongoing connection with people like Peggy and Mary Burbank at this institution. We're currently being mentored by the Education Policy Center. Corey and Ashley and Andrea are down at our school working with us for the last couple of years. This is invaluable to me, and I guess I want to encourage this College of Education, as the dean mentioned, to really work on those connections. I'm now I'm down the hill looking up this way, and we look to you, we look to this university to be the flagship, to be the research center, and to help guide us in this work of reform. We have a lot of reform work to do still. And I think maybe what was described as the Shopping Mall High School has become Shopping Mall Education, and we're all worried about choice and not about exactly what we're getting from all that choice. So again, I look to the people at this institution for leadership in working through that and supporting all of us out there in the public schools who are trying to make a difference. I am certainly humbled and very appreciative of this award. And I appreciate my family and all of you who have come here today to be with us. Thank you so much.
So now it's my privilege to also honor Dr. Rolfe Kerr as the recipient of the T.H. Bell Award for lifetime contributions to the field of education. As many of you here know, T.H. Bell has a long and illustrious history with our college, the university, and public education, serving as a faculty member in this college, Superintendent of Salt Lake City Schools, the Utah State Superintendent, and of course, Secretary of Education under President Reagan. So in his name, we have an award that will be presented by Dr. Cece Foxley. I'll let you know a little bit about Cece, and then she will present the award to Dr. Kerr. After having served for over 10 years as Commissioner of the Utah System of Higher Education and Chief Executive Officer to the State Board of Regents, Cece also completed a 3-year Regents professorship here in the College of Education Educational Psychology Department, and she is still currently an adjunct professor in the college. She is also the current chair of the College of Education Advancement Board, which is extremely important then for our not only our faculty but also our students and their scholarships. Cece was the recipient of the college's Distinguished Alumni Award in 2010, and she doesn't give up. She keeps coming back. So it's particularly appropriate for her to be here to recognize Dr. Kerr.
rather than have that buzz, can you hear me? Well, I want to welcome all of you here, particularly Rolfe, his lovely wife Janelle, their family, and I think all 4 daughters are here? No, just 2? Anyway, we're so appreciative of your being here. We all think this is an alumni award time, but it's actually a commissioner's lunch. The 4 of us occasionally get together for a commissioner's lunch, and I thought, when we got the word that Rolfe had been selected, I thought this would be a really fun thing to surprise Rolfe and have our commissioner's lunch today. So we have with us, as Rob has already said, and the dean has said, Rolfe served as the 4th commissioner, and by the way, T.H. Bell was a commissioner as well as a superintendent. Some other people in this room have done both roles. He was the 4th, I was the 5th, Rich Kendall was the 6th, and by the way, Rich is going to get an honorary doctorate from this university in a couple weeks. Cool. Yes. So Rich was the 6th, and then Dave Bueller was the 8th and current commissioner, and we hope that he serves longer than any of us combined. A wonderful group of colleagues. I wanted just to say that I have known Rolfe Kerr for a long, long time. Some of you think I am from Tremont because that's his hometown. And I married into a Tremont family. So I knew about Rolfe's early leadership before I actually experienced it, witnessed it. I think he was a born leader. In school, in church, in athletics, he was a leader at every level. And when he went to Utah State for his 2 first degrees, bachelor's and master's degrees, he was student body president of that institution. He was the football quarterback and received recognition and honors for serving in those leadership roles as well. Rolfe is an amazing individual. He has held leadership and faculty positions in 5 institutions in our state. Now, how many people can say that? Generally, if you're affiliated with one, the others don't want to have a lot to do with you. Not so. From a presidency at Dixie to an executive vice presidency at BYU to deanships, assistants to presidents, special administrative roles at USU, the University of Utah, and Weber. That's amazing. So as you look at that and you say, how does one individual do all that? Well, you have to look at what he has served in roles related to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I mean, he's also been a commissioner of education there, but he has served in every role you can imagine, from serving an individual mission to the 2 of them, he and Janelle, as mission president, temple president, and wonderful companion, to, we say he's a retired general authority, but I think once you're a general authority, you're always a general authority. And I actually met him when he was serving in Europe, the regional presidencies in the world. 2 of those he served in those presidencies in Europe. One then back in the States, western, northern states, and in Utah. And I just can't imagine all the labor of love he has put into each of these positions. He could not have done it without his wonderful companion, his best friend, his sweetheart, Janelle, supportive of all that he has done, and his wonderful family and how they have supported, from siblings to his children to their spouses, and now 14 grandchildren. it's exciting to see all the contributions that he has made. You know, he's kind of a Tremonton cowboy. He still loves horses. I think you still have at least one horse. He is, I think, I call salt of the earth kind of person. There's no pretense with Rolfe. He is extremely straightforward and honest, but in a very diplomatic way. And those of us who serve in any leadership role know that those are key characteristics. Knowledge about one's field, honesty, respecting others, input from others. And I was going through a file. I keep a lot of files on a lot of people, so beware. No. I have a file on Rolfe, and it is huge. In several publications, there is Rolfe Kerr's personal creed. You remember that, Rolfe? And I read through these, and I thought, these describe him exactly. And if all of us live by this personal creed, we could all be a Rolfe Kerr. But before I read that, I must tell you that he has followed my career and I have followed his career. And it wasn't just at the time that he asked me to be his Associate Commissioner for Academic Affairs that we connected. Even when I was in the Midwest for 15 years almost, I would know where he was. We would see each other at national conventions. I told one of you here that my father clipped clippings out of everybody in Utah when I lived in Minnesota and Iowa, send them to me. I knew when he was what and where he was doing what. And when Utah State recruited me back to Utah, I wasn't there too long, and he said, "How firmly are your feet in concrete at USU?" He asked me to be his Associate Commissioner for Academic Affairs. And then not too much longer, 3 or so years, he said, "I need a deputy. I need someone to go with me to the legislature. I need someone to be in charge when I'm not here." So 5 years of that, a total of 8 years, and I told him I would do it for 3. Remember that? And then I'm going back to teaching. And then 10 and a half years as commissioner. So 18 and a half years in an office that was not a campus. And I got my education to be on a campus. But what a glorious experience. And this man was my most important mentor, colleague, and friend. And I'm not just the only one he has mentored. There are many. So now I'm going to read you his personal creed. Succeed at home first. He's done that. Seek and merit divine help. Never compromise with honesty. Think about that. Sometimes we want to just color things a little differently, so it might be better accepted by someone who's receiving the message. Never compromise with honesty. Pursue excellence in all endeavors. Don't fear mistakes. You know, Rolfe used to tell me that, if we make a mistake, we just learn from it. We move on. Be a creative and innovative person. Some things hadn't been done before in this state before he was commissioner. Relationships with other institutions, private institutions. Remember the people involved. Giving credit to others, not just acknowledging that maybe you've accomplished something too. Defend those who are absent. Hear both sides before judging. Listen, I love this one because he really did this all the time. Listen twice as much as you speak. Think about that. Plan tomorrow's work today. Now, with most of our jobs, it's kind of a rolling thing, and planning ahead is not all that easy, but it's helpful. Develop one new proficiency each year. Think about that. Attain visibility by your productivity. Facilitate the success of your colleagues. And I think Rolfe shines with that. Do more than is expected of you. Wow. That's Rolfe Kerr's personal creed. And I think we all would do well to adopt that personal creed. And I congratulate you, Rolfe. You're an amazing individual in all that you've done in your entire life. And I'm so privileged to have been a part of that.
So, this award, on behalf of the College of Education, I am pleased to present you with the T.H. Bell Award for Lifetime Contributions to the field of education. This award is given in recognition of your remarkable history of leadership in education, including all the things that Cece said. But we also want to recognize your service as general authority and educational leader for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Wherever you have served, you have worked for the highest quality education for the people of Utah and around the world. In the spirit of T.H. Bell, we are privileged to recognize your amazing history in education. Thank you and congratulations.
We should perhaps arrange for Cece to speak at my funeral. Her reference to the fact that I served in a variety of institutions and a variety of roles has to be put into proper context. And that was done by my father on an occasion where there had been a similar rundown of all of those various positions in different institutions. And I think he was in his early 90s at the time, and he said, someday this kid's going to find a job he can handle. And that does perhaps put it in proper perspective. It is indeed an honor to receive an award and recognition that carries the name of T.H. Bell. He was serving as the Utah Commission of Higher Education during my years at Dixie College. And we developed a very close relationship and admired him greatly. For those of you who know him, you're aware that he's relatively short. He was once described as the biggest little man in Utah. And I think that's an appropriate recognition of his great strength. You know, I can't contemplate this award without thinking back of another award I received as my undergraduate days were drawing to a close. And it was an award for some of the athletic involvements that I've been into at Utah State. And after the award had been made public, a friend of mine who was truly a gifted athlete wrote me a letter of congratulations. And he said, this is just a wonderful award, particularly for someone who is so limited in natural ability. So that accurately applies to my athletic capacity, but I think may apply in other aspects of my life as well. So I do receive this award with a sense of humility that I hope is based appropriately. I had an all too brief experience, but powerful experience here at the university in a working capacity. My primary assignment was in the Dean of Students' office, but I had for a period of time, about a year of that time, at the end of the assignment, opportunity to work in the president's office. James Fletcher was the president at the time. was a marvelous experience. A brilliant man, had a very interesting leadership style. His executive vice president was Neil A. Maxwell. His provost was Tom King. He had other vice presidents, but whenever major strategic issues for the university were being considered, he would bring the two of those together with him, the two of them together with him. I had the privilege of sitting in on a number of those meetings. Now, not all of you would know Neil Maxwell and Tom King, but those who do will know of the very conservative nature of Neil Maxwell and the very liberal nature of Tom King. And it was James Fletcher's style to put whatever the issue may be, figuratively, on the table, and then seek the opinion of these two polar views. And I'm quite sure that the inspiration, if you can call it that, for one of the points of that personal creed, hear both sides before judging, had its origin in seeing the literal verbal battles that went on between those two polar views. There's a little additional piece to that, well, to each one of those items on that creed, but on this particular one, hear both sides before judging, knowing that truth usually resides somewhere between opposing views. So whether it be truth or consensus or wisdom or whatever, this was Jim Fletcher's style, to see what the polar views were, and then he felt he would then make the best decision, being sure that he knew the extremes and everything in between. Well, it was a great learning experience. Another difficult but helpful learning experience in that assignment was what some of you will remember as the park building sit-in. This was the time of the Vietnam War, student protests, and we had on an occasion the park building. I'm not sure whether the hallways still exist as they did then, but from the south end of the park building to the north on that main level to the president's office, the west entrance to the east exit and up the stairs, just literally packed with students expressing their protest of the Vietnam War. Tom King and I were the negotiators for the administration with these students who were protesting. I really think I would prefer dealing with the fight song. Seems a little lukewarm by comparison to me. Anyway, great experiences. Experiences with the College of Education. Truly had what I consider to be wonderful, wonderful professors for my doctoral program. It's now been over 40 years, but I remember so clearly experiences with Gene Jacobson, Paul Foley, Gus Faust. Some of these names will mean something to some of you. Lloyd McCleary, Dr. McGrath, I've forgotten his first name, but truly wonderful professors. And I always remember when I sat before my supervisory committee just getting the approval of my program, Gene Jacobson, who was the chairman of my supervisory committee, said, "We want you to know that unlike some doctoral programs some places, our intent and our focus is to help you succeed in this program." And I found that to be true every step along the way. Well, during these past many years, there have been many professional colleagues, such as Cece and many others. At every one of those institutions, every one of those assignments, there have been wonderful people from whom I have learned much. I'm deeply appreciative and will be forever indebted to them. Now, finally, and most importantly, none of this could have been possible, as Cece indicated, had it not been for Janelle, who has been at my side through these now 50 nearly 4 years, and has been a part of the decisions that we've made when we've moved from one place to another. Fairly early, well, it was actually after we had had a couple of those higher education assignments, when we made the decision we were not going to go back to the farm and take over the family farm outside of Tremonton, and determined that higher education was going to be our life. We concluded and agreed that a doctoral degree would be necessary if we were to do what we could possibly do in higher education. And we determined that we wanted to have that degree completed by the time I turned 35. Now that goal did not fit into the pattern of the Educational Leadership Department for the amount of time it should take to get that degree. I was working full-time, had some major church assignments, traveling a great deal with my work, and I met with the supervisory committee and laid this out, and they said it's not possible. You can't do it in that amount of time. I said, would you allow me to try? So they, with tongue-in-cheek, said, yeah, we'll let you try. Well, we made it, and with great sacrifice on the part of Janelle. We had 3 of our 6 children at that time, and there were times when I'm sure that they may have wondered if it was really worth it. They were part of that agreement and very much a part of every step along the way. One of the other decisions that we made and agreed upon was that if we were going to progress in administration of higher education, that we should perhaps be willing to respond to opportunities as they came along. We didn't seek other opportunities, but as appropriate ones came, then we made decisions to move. And I'm not going to tell you how many moves we made. But there again, that was so crucial for the support and encouragement that I received from Janelle and from the kids. There was only one time when she showed at least some sign of resistance. At one of those moves, she says, okay, I'll go with you this time, but the next move you make, we're going to put the house up for sale, and it will be listed, house for sale, fully furnished, including wife and kids. Now, if she would hear, she would say, and we can't count how many moves we made after that one. Well, thanks to the University of Utah, thanks to the College of Education, the doctoral degree I received here served me well, and I hope that over the years I've reflected appropriate positive influence in a way that would reflect positively on this university and this college. So thanks again for the award, and thanks to all of you for enduring these moments of comment.
Now I'd like to present 2 scholarships. Our scholarship recipients meet certain criteria regarding not only being successful doctoral students, but involving community engagement in their work. So I'd like Alicia de Leon from the Department of Education, Culture, and Society to come forward, and Rudy Medina from the Department of Education, Leadership, and Policy to come forward. The tradition is to have our 2 distinguished alumni who have received awards today to come also forward. I just have a few words so that you get to know the work of these 2 wonderful students. Alicia de Leon is as I mentioned before, a student in the Department of Education, Culture, and Society. She grew up in the southeast of downtown Los Angeles, California, of immigrant Mexican and Guatemalan parents. Alicia has worked primarily as a co-researcher and mentor of Latino and Latina youth here in Salt Lake City with the Mestizo Arts and Activism Program, MAA. She has been doing this work from 2012 to the present. Alicia is completing her dissertation. Its title is Digital Borderlands: Understanding Latino Youth's Sociopolitical Context by Using Digital Media as Dialogic Activism. Ms. De Leon her work reflects what we call participatory action research grounded in borderlands theory. And the high school youth in her study utilize digital media tools to leverage their own civic and political activities. She's the first in her family to pursue a doctoral degree. Felicidades.
Gracias.
Rudy Medina is a first-year doctoral student in educational leadership and policy. He comes from Salinas, California. He currently serves as a Latino program coordinator for student equity and diversity here at the university. Rudy has committed himself to building leadership among Latina and Latino youth and addressing community and campus issues alike. Through his position, Rudy has been able to build on outreach efforts for the university, connects the university to the community, and creates sustained programming for student success. In fact, he's in charge of what we call Raza Graduation coming up tomorrow. Apart from his position, Rudy helps host community events such as spoken word and workshops around cultural events like Dia de los Muertos or Days of the Dead. Felicidades, Rudy. Thank you to our distinguished alumni and our soon-to-be. They have a whole future ahead to fill the steps of the generations that have laid it out for us to be successful. Are there any words you'd like to say?
Thank you.
Okay, that does it. Thank you. And that concludes our beautiful event together. I look forward to seeing more of you throughout the year. Know that the College of Education values the work and contributions of all of you, and we want you to keep coming back. Thank you.